All right, welcome back inside our proactive newsroom. And joining me now is Greg Hahn. He is the Vice President of Exploration for Arizona Silver Exploration. And Greg, good to have you back again. How are you?
Thank you, Steve. I'm fine. Glad to be here.
Yeah, good to have you along. And a really interesting news release out from the company talking about a process called metallic screen assaying. And you did this on some of the drill holes that had already been assayed. So before we get into what you found and why you did it, tell me what metallic screen assaying is.
Sure, happy to. Let me start by saying what our normal fire assay is. It's you take maybe 10 kilos of drill sample, they crush that, then they split part of it out, maybe a kilo of that, 10% of it out, and from that they crush it a little finer. Then they split out a quarter of a kilo and grind that to a very fine powder, and then they split out 30 grams from that, and that's what they do the fire assay on. So it's really a small portion of the overall drill sample. Scientifically, it's proven to be generally very representative. However, when you have coarse gold present in the sample, the coarse gold doesn't pulverize, it just smears out. And so you tend to turn to a metallic screen assay, which tries to address the presence of metallics. And in that analysis, they take a kilogram sample and they crush it, and then they pulverize it to 100 mesh, and they take out two splits, that split that's over 100 mesh and that split that's under 100 mesh. They assay both of those splits and then combine them to produce an assay on a much larger sample, having assayed the size that's oversized of the screen split. So that gives you an opportunity to see whether there's any coarse gold in the sample. And in the case of the samples we just announced, there definitely is coarse gold in the sample, which doesn't show up in a standard fire assay.
Yeah, so these results are these samples you say were from the Philadelphia project, and you sent 24 samples, and I don't know if it's the surprising part, but they really did this process really did show that there's a bit more there than was originally announced.
Correct, and we anticipated that because we could see the visible gold in the rejects from the drilling project, which is why we decided to go this route. We've done this before on other higher grade intervals, but we've never had anything run 50 grams before. So in the past, we've had very close comparison between metallic screen assays and fire assays. But in this case, the comparison is not even close. The metallic screen assays are much higher, indicating we do have coarse gold in this portion of the deposit.
Yeah, an increase of about 42.2% on one sample, specifically the one you talked about, which went from 51 to 72. But on average of those 24 samples, 25.9% increase. And people go, well, it's 25%. But when you're talking about the price of gold, that can be significant in a larger scale.
Sure, if you're say you're running a gram or a tenth of an ounce, doesn't matter what the number is. If you pick up 25% at a $2,000 gold price, you're picking up $500 in value, something like that on the average ounce.
Yeah, it's good stuff. So obviously that's the process now, and that may continue in the future with other drilling as well there, Greg?
Right. I think this demonstrates that anything that runs over 4 grams is susceptible of containing particulate or coarse gold. So we'll do the standard fire assay normally, as we always do, as everybody does. And then as we get results back and they're more than 4 grams, especially if they're more than 40 grams, we will do the metallic screen assay to get a better understanding of what the gold content is.
Okay, good. Good to talk on that. Also, a quick update on Philadelphia. I know this is not really the time you're going to be out in the field, but planning ahead for the next stage?
We are planning ahead for the next stage, and we've demonstrated on a rotating 3-dimensional model what our next drilling program is going to look like in total. We won't do it all at once, but we've designed the next 30 holes. We have pads ready to go. We're waiting for a combination of the weather to cool down and drillers to want to return to Arizona to do it. So we're looking forward to that.
Absolutely. Well, Greg, as I say, every time I talk to you, I feel like I'm smarter because I learned something, which is always a positive. So appreciate your time, my friend. Thanks very much.
Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Yeah, good stuff. There's Greg Hahn, Vice President of Exploration for Arizona Silver Exploration.